How's it going, everyone? We are back with the next episode of the Single Reviews. I will say, it was pretty tight between Dream On and It's Good to Be Gordon, and for a while, it looked like Dream On might have been our winner. But just beating it out by a few extra votes, the fans have chosen It's Good to Be Gordon. And oh boy, do I have a lot to say. Let's begin. Gordon is told that if he arrives on time with the express, he is very close to setting a new record. But when he's accidentally given Henry's special coal, Gordon believes it will make him go faster. Only does he not realize by doing so, Henry has a problem running on normal coal while doing his work. So, Gordon, feeling guilty, decides to give up the record and swaps tenders with Henry to get him in order again. Alright, well, we're gonna switch things up a bit. Let's talk about the characters first, starting with Gordon. Now, everyone knows, I'm not the biggest fan of Gordon as a character. In fact, he's one of my least favorites throughout the whole show. But I will admit, he does have some excellent spotlight episodes. With that said, how do I feel about him here? Well, I actually like him in this one. I wouldn't say he's entirely out of character here for taking Henry's special coal, because, well, we have seen how selfish and inconsiderate Gordon is with certain situations, and it is very rare when his nice side comes out to his fellow companions. But the fact that he ignores that Henry can't run on normal coal just to help himself set the new record, well, to me that just seems like a typical Gordon thing to do, am I right? On that note, let's shift over to Henry. Now, technically speaking, I don't necessarily think Henry is out of character here either. Only because the special coal does play a major part in his health. But how is this even possible in this era? As far as we're aware, Henry's coal problem was fixed many seasons ago. So this only would have made sense if this was done in the classic era. And this is when we jump over to talk about the story. Now, personally, I think this is a wonderful episode between Gordon and Henry. I think it really showed how much Gordon actually does care for his friends, while realizing his ignorance does a lot more harm than good. I should just end the video right here and give this episode a perfect score. But I can't. And why is that, you all might be wondering? What keeps this episode from being perfect? Very simple answer. It's the episode's placement in the series. Clearly, this is not meant to be a hit episode. This sounds like it was definitely written for the classic series. That is why Henry being on the special coal again doesn't make any sense. This is obviously supposed to be placed before the events of the Flying Kipper. So I want to know what brilliant genius thought it was a good idea to shift this episode into Season 10 and practically retconning a major event from the classic era. These guys at HIT really had no sense of continuity. It's that level of stupidity that keeps a majority of these hit episodes from being really great. So, how do we fix this? Well, obviously, you take this out of Season 10, and you stick it just before the Flying Kipper. But that leaves us with one extra story. And I think I have a very good ideal theory. As much as I enjoy this episode, I think if you take away whistles and sneezes, then you got yourself a perfect first season. But why this specific episode? Some might say whistles and sneezes is important to the timeline. No, it's not. The Flying Kipper is an important timeline event. A broken whistle and sneezing on a couple of boys is not a major event. In fact, it's filler. You could have taken those stories and put them anywhere else, be it hit or classic era, and it wouldn't have affected anything. Just think of what you got here, just for a second. Let's think back to how nasty Gordon was to Henry in the very beginning.
Why should Henry have a new shape? He grumbled. A shape good enough for me is good enough for him. He goes gallivanting off, leaving us to do his work, and comes back saying how happy he feels. It's disgraceful. And And there's another thing. Henry whistles too much. No respectable engine ever whistles loudly at stations. It isn't wrong, but we just don't do it.
Now compare that to It's Good to Be Gordon.
I took your special coal this morning, Puff Gordon. I wanted to go faster than ever. I'm very sorry. But now I have a good idea. Gordon and Henry swapped tenders. Soon, Henry's firebox was full of special coal. Henry felt better right away. Thank you, Gordon.
Now, supposedly, if these two were supposed to be buddy-buddy after the events, going as far back as, say, The Sad Story of Henry, maybe throw in the Tenders and Turntables trilogy, what the hell happened? Why is Gordon intentionally being a dick to Henry for literally no reason? Oh, it's because he's jealous. Technically speaking, you really don't need this episode. Because truthfully, Gordon does treat Henry like absolute garbage in this one. And correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't there a few more hit episodes where Gordon comes off as a huge jerk to Henry, again for no reason? It's that characterization for Gordon that makes me not like him. And that's why I really like him in Good to Be. I love the life lesson that Gordon learns. Even though he knew what he did was wrong, he still only thought of himself at the time. It was when he saw how sick Henry was, whether it makes sense or not, that he started to feel really guilty. And then he gives up the record to help out his friend in the end. If they would have continued this characterization for Gordon throughout the rest of the show, then maybe I would have liked him a little more. Because I also believe that this story alone helped to strengthen the friendship between Gordon and Henry. Something else I wish they would have kept throughout the remainder of the show. To conclude, while I do think It's Good to Be Gordon is truly a wonderful episode, the placement in the series only slightly ruins what could have been a perfect Henry and Gordon story. Had this been slapped in the classic series, this would have been totally fine, and not retconning a major character arc within Henry. As I mentioned already, if you would have taken Whistles and Sneezes out, got rid of it completely, or do something really crazy, like make Gordon's whistle and Henry sneeze their own stories, and stuck them anywhere in whatever season, or maybe put it in It's Good to Be Gordon's place in Season 10, there really wouldn't have been any major difference. So with all of that in mind, I'm gonna rank this episode with a near-perfect score of a 9 out of 10. I've been Yami Tay, and I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more of these and other Thomas-related content. Until then, I will see you all in the next video.